The galaxy had been a volatile place for centuries. Dozens of alien civilizations coexisted uneasily under the fragile banner of interstellar diplomacy, but tensions simmered beneath the surface. Humanity, once considered a minor species on the galactic stage, was now seen as an unpredictable wildcard. Led by Admiral Jae-ho Kim and Commander Ji-un Park, Earth's military forces had quietly grown more advanced than anyone suspected. Unbeknownst to the rest of the galaxy, humanity's technological leaps were not just about defense. They were preparation for something far greater. While other species squabbled over resources and territory, humans worked tirelessly in secret laboratories scattered across their solar system. When reports surfaced that the Zorathian Empire, a ruthless collective of warrior races, was planning an invasion of Earth, Jae-ho called an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. Ji-un stood silently beside him, her sharp eyes scanning the room. She knew what no one else did. Humanity wasn't going to beg for peace or plead for mercy this time. They were ready to show their true strength. Part 2. The ultimatum. At the Galactic Council summit aboard the orbiting station Unity Prime, representatives from dozens of alien factions gathered to discuss the looming threat of the Zorathians. The council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as Admiral Jae-ho took the podium. "Humans have endured enough aggression," he declared, his voice steady and commanding. "We will not stand idly by while our planet is targeted for conquest." His words sent ripples through the assembly. Some applauded, others whispered warnings of escalation, but it was Ji-un who delivered the real shockwave. Rising from her seat, she presented evidence of Zorathian warships amassing near Earth's borders. "If you do not act against them," she warned, "we will take matters into our own hands." The council erupted into chaos. Many feared humanity's recklessness would ignite a galactic war. What they didn't know was that Ji-un and Jae-ho already had plans in motion, and those plans involved unveiling weapons unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Part 3. Shadows of the Past. Back on Earth, Jae-ho visited an underground facility where humanity's darkest secrets were kept. Here, scientists like Dr. Min-soo Choi had spent decades reverse engineering alien technology captured during skirmishes with hostile species. Min-soo greeted Jae-ho with a mixture of pride and anxiety. "We've done it," Min-soo said, leading him to a massive vault door. Inside lay Project Aegis Dawn, a fleet of starships equipped with quantum disruptors capable of disabling entire armadas at once. There were also prototype AI-driven drones designed to outmaneuver any organic pilot. As Jae-ho inspected the arsenal, memories flooded back of Earth's early days among the stars, when humanity had been bullied, exploited, and nearly annihilated. Those humiliations fueled every decision he made. He turned to Min-soo and nodded. "It's time." Part 4. First Contact. Reimagined news spread quickly through the galaxy when Earth launched its new fleet toward Zorathian space. Dubbed the Celestial Vanguard, the ships moved with unprecedented speed and precision, bypassing known defenses and appearing directly above key Zorathian strongholds. Commander Ji-un led the operation personally, her flagship broadcasting a single message to the stunned Zorathian leaders. "You sought to destroy us. Instead, you awakened something far worse." When the Zorathians attempted to retaliate, they discovered their weapons rendered useless by the quantum disruptors. Entire squadrons of their fighters disintegrated mid-flight as the human fleet advanced without firing a shot. For the first time in millennia, the Zorathian Empire faced an enemy it could neither fight nor understand. Part 5. The Silent Weapon. The turning point came when Ji-un deployed Eclipse Protocol, a classified weapon developed by Dr. Min-soo. It wasn't designed to kill, it was designed to erase. Using advanced neural resonance technology, Eclipse targeted the collective consciousness of hive-minded species like the Zorathians, severing their ability to coordinate attacks. Within hours, the Zorathian command structure collapsed. Their armies froze in confusion, unable to function without centralized control. Ji-un watched the chaos unfold from her command bridge, her expression unreadable. This wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. Word of the event reached every corner of the galaxy almost instantly. Alien worlds that had dismissed humanity as weak now trembled at the thought of provoking them. Even neutral factions began re-evaluating their alliances. Part 6. The aftermath. Admiral Jae-ho returned to Earth a hero, though he felt little joy. The cost of wielding such power weighed heavily on him. In private meetings with Ji-un and Min-Soo, he voiced concerns about how the galaxy would react. Would they see humanity as saviors or monsters? Meanwhile, the silence in space grew deafening. Trade routes slowed, diplomatic channels went dark, and even friendly species avoided contact with Earth. Humanity had proven itself unmatched in warfare, but at what price? Fear replaced curiosity and isolation became the norm. Ji-un tried to reassure Jae-ho. "We showed them we're not to be trifled with," she said. "That's all that matters." But Jae-ho couldn't shake the feeling that they had crossed a line, one there was no coming back from. Part 7. Whispers. Among the stars years passed, and humanity thrived in its solitude. With no external threats, Earth focused inward, advancing its society and exploring deeper into the cosmos. Yet rumors persisted of shadowy movements beyond their borders. Some claimed rogue factions were plotting revenge, while others whispered of ancient entities stirred awake by humanity's actions. One night, Jae-ho received a cryptic transmission from an unknown source. The message contained only 3 words: "You are watched." Though unsettling, it confirmed what he already suspected. The galaxy hadn't forgotten about Earth. It was merely biding its time. Determined to prepare for whatever came next, Jae-ho ordered the expansion of Project Aegis Dawn. Humanity wouldn't make the same mistakes twice. Part 8. Into the Void decades later. Commander Ji-un found herself standing aboard a new flagship, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. Humanity had become both pioneers and pariahs, revered and feared in equal measure. The silence that followed their rise remained unbroken, a testament to the awe and terror they inspired. As the ship entered a previously uncharted region of space, Ji-un reflected on the choices that brought them here. Had they saved Earth or doomed it to eternal loneliness? The answer eluded her as it always had. Then suddenly the sensors lit up. Something vast and ancient loomed ahead, its presence dwarfing anything humanity had encountered before. Ji-un clenched her fists, steeling herself for what might come next. For better or worse, humanity's journey was far from over. And in the depths of the void, the galaxy finally spoke again, and document copy ask explain translate in US write part 1. All of them one by one of 1,400 words, each in a separate document, and it should be interesting and write it in third-person style. And it should be in simple and basic English. Use simple and basic English and don't create more chapters. Headings or parts numbers in each part. Quen 2.5 the max part 1. A fragile piece. The galaxy was a vast and dangerous place. Billions of stars burned brightly in the endless void, their light reaching out to illuminate countless planets, moons, and civilizations. For centuries, these alien races had lived together in an uneasy balance. Some sought peace, others power, but all shared one thing: the knowledge that survival depended on staying ahead of their rivals. Among these many species, humanity was considered small and insignificant, a latecomer to the galactic stage. Earth's first steps into space had been clumsy and cautious. When humans first ventured beyond their solar system, they were met with hostility from larger, more advanced species. The Zarathian Empire, a coalition of warrior races known for their brutal conquests, saw Earth as nothing more than another target. Humanity learned quickly that kindness was rare in the galaxy, and weakness was punished without mercy. But over time, something changed. Slowly and quietly, humans began to adapt. They studied their enemies, learning from every battle, every loss, every humiliation. They built stronger ships, developed smarter strategies, and mastered technologies once thought impossible. Behind closed doors, Earth's leaders worked tirelessly to ensure that no one would ever underestimate them again. At the center of this transformation stood 2 individuals: Admiral Jae-ho Kim and Commander Ji-un Park. Jae-ho was a man of discipline and resolve, his face lined with years of hard decisions. He had fought in some of humanity's earliest conflicts against alien forces, and those experiences had shaped him into a leader who valued strength above all else. Ji-un, on the other hand, was younger but no less formidable. Sharp-eyed and quick-witted, she had risen through the ranks thanks to her tactical brilliance and unshakable determination. Together, they formed a partnership that became the backbone of Earth's military efforts. While Jae-ho commanded fleets and inspired soldiers, Ji-un focused on strategy, planning every move with precision. Between them, They represented the best of what humanity could achieve when pushed to its limits. Despite their progress, however, tensions in the galaxy continued to rise. The fragile peace maintained by the Galactic Council, a governing body made up of representatives from various species, was beginning to crack under the weight of old grudges and new ambitions. Rumors spread of secret alliances, hidden weapons stockpile. The Galactic Council chamber aboard Unity Prime was a place of grandeur and tension. Its walls shimmered with holographic displays showing star maps, diplomatic symbols, and live feeds from across the galaxy. Delegates from dozens of alien species sat in their assigned seats, their forms as varied as the planets they came from. Some had scales that glinted under the artificial light. Others had glowing eyes or elongated limbs. Each representative carried an air of authority, but none more so than Admiral Jae-ho Kim and Commander Ji-un Park. Jae-ho stood at the center of the room, his posture rigid, his uniform immaculate. He had spent decades preparing for moments like this, moments when humanity's fate hung in the balance. Beside him, Ji-un held herself with equal composure, though her sharp gaze betrayed the intensity burning within her. Together they represented Earth, a planet once dismissed as weak but now seen as unpredictable, and today, they intended to make it clear that unpredictability could cut both ways. The council session began with formalities, each delegate given time to voice concerns about rising tensions in the galaxy. Many pointed fingers at the Zorathian Empire, accusing them of aggression and warmongering. Others called for restraint, urging the council to avoid actions that might escalate into full-scale war. But Jae-ho knew diplomacy alone wouldn't protect Earth. Words were weapons, yes, but sometimes sharper tools were needed. When it was humanity's turn to speak, Jae-ho stepped forward, his presence commanding immediate attention. "We have endured enough," he began, his voice steady and resolute. "For years we have listened to threats, suffered attacks, and watched as our borders were tested by those who see us as prey. No longer will we stand idly by while our people are targeted." His words echoed through the chamber, silencing even the most vocal critics. The delegates exchanged uneasy glances. Humanity's tone was different this time, firmer, angrier, and less willing to compromise. It was a tone that demanded respect or provoked fear. Ji-un took over, stepping up beside Jae-ho. In her hands, she held a data tablet containing evidence gathered by Earth's intelligence operatives. With a few taps, she projected images onto the massive screen behind them. The footage showed Zorathian warships massing near Earth's borders, their sleek designs bristling with weaponry. There were also intercepted communications detailing plans for invasion, their chilling intent impossible to deny. "These are not idle rumors," Ji-un said, her voice cutting through the murmurs of disbelief. "This is proof. The Zorathians are preparing to attack Earth. If the Council refuses to act, we will take matters into our own hands." The room erupted into chaos. Some delegates shouted accusations at the Zorathians, demanding answers. Others accused humanity of exaggerating the threat, claiming Earth's leaders sought to incite conflict for their own gain. Still, there were those who remained silent, their expressions betraying unease. They had heard stories of Earth's growing strength, whispers of advanced technology and secret projects hidden deep beneath its surface. Now faced with undeniable evidence, they wondered what humanity truly planned to do. Among the chaos, Jae-ho scanned the room, his eyes landing on the Zorathian representative. The creature, a towering being with chitinous armor and jagged teeth, stared back impassively. Its expression gave nothing away, but Jae-ho could sense the disdain radiating from it. To the Zorathians, humans were still insects waiting to be crushed. What they didn't realize was that insects could sting. As the debate raged on, Ji-un leaned closer to Jae-ho, speaking softly. "They're scared," she whispered. "Let them wonder what we've been building." Jae-ho nodded, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. She was right. The uncertainty in the room was palpable. For years, humanity had kept its true capabilities hidden, working quietly in underground labs and remote facilities. Even the Galactic Council had no idea how far Earth's scientists had come. Now, with tensions reaching a boiling point, it was time to let the galaxy speculate. When order was finally restored, the council chair, a frail-looking alien with translucent skin and bioluminescent markings, called for a vote. Should the council intervene to stop the Zorathians, or should they leave humanity to fend for itself? The outcome was predictable. Most delegates abstained, unwilling to commit resources to a conflict that didn't directly affect them. A few sided with Earth, offering vague promises of support, but the majority chose neutrality, leaving humanity to face the Zorathians alone. Jeho wasn't surprised. He had expected nothing less. As the session concluded, he turned to Jiun. "It's just as I thought," he said. "We can rely only on ourselves." Back on Earth, preparations accelerated. Secret facilities buzzed with activity as engineers and technicians worked around the clock. At one such facility, buried deep beneath the deserts of North America, Dr. Min-Soo Choi oversaw the final stages of Project Aegis. Dawn, the project was humanity's ace in the hole, a fleet of advanced starships equipped with technologies years ahead of anything else in the galaxy. Min-Soo was a brilliant scientist, though his genius often masked a quiet anxiety. He had dedicated his life to protecting Earth, pouring every ounce of his intellect into developing weapons capable of leveling the playing field. Now, standing before the massive vault doors that housed Aegis Dawn, he felt a mix of pride and dread. "Are you sure about this?" asked Lieutenant Hyunjun Lee, one of Min-Soo's top assistants. Hyunjun was young, eager, and fiercely loyal, but even he couldn't hide the worry in his voice. "Once we deploy these ships, there's no going back." Min-Soo sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. "There never was a way back," he replied. "The galaxy pushed us to this point. Now we show them what happens when you corner Earth." Inside the vault, rows of sleek starships gleamed under harsh fluorescent lights. Their hulls were painted matte black, designed to absorb radar and blend into the darkness of space. Each ship was armed with quantum disruptors, devices capable of disabling enemy vessels without firing a single shot, and AI-driven drones, programmed to outmaneuver any organic pilot. But the crown jewel of Aegis Dawn was something even more revolutionary: Eclipse Protocol. Developed in secret over decades, Eclipse was a neural resonance weapon designed to target the collective consciousness of hive-minded species like the Zorathians. By severing their ability to communicate and coordinate, Eclipse could cripple entire armies without causing physical harm. It was a weapon of precision, meant to minimize casualties while maximizing impact. As Min-Soo inspected the fleet, memories flooded back of Earth's early days among the stars. He remembered the humiliation of begging for scraps of alien technology, the pain of watching human colonies destroyed by superior forces, and the determination that drove him and his colleagues to push beyond their limits. Those experiences fueled every decision he made. "We've done it," Min-Soo said aloud, more to himself than anyone else. Turning to Hyunjun, he added, "Tell Admiral Jeho the fleet is ready. It's time." News of Aegis Dawn spread quickly through Earth's military command. Jeho and Ji-eun reviewed the details in a secure briefing room, poring over schematics and deployment plans. Both understood the gravity of what they were about to unleash. This wasn't just a military operation. It was a declaration of humanity's arrival as a galactic power. "I hope you're ready for this," Jeho said to Ji-eun, his tone serious but tinged with admiration. "Once we launch, the galaxy will never look at us the same way again." Ji-eun met his gaze, her expression unwavering. "Good," she replied. "Let them see what happens when they underestimate us." In the days that followed, Earth's resolve became clear. Ships departed orbit in waves heading toward Zorathian space. The message was simple but unmistakable. Humanity would not wait to be attacked. They would strike first, decisively, and with overwhelming force. Across the galaxy, reactions varied. Some species cheered Earth's boldness, seeing it as a long-overdue challenge to the Zorathians' dominance. Others condemned the move, fearing it would spark a galactic war. But one thing was certain: the silence that followed humanity's announcement was deafening. Even the Zorathians seemed taken aback. For centuries, they had viewed humans as little more than pests, easy targets for conquest. Now, faced with evidence of Earth's newfound strength, they hesitated. Rumors swirled of emergency meetings and frantic planning sessions within the Empire. Whatever confidence they once had was beginning to waver. Back on Earth, Jeho watched the reports come in, his mind racing with possibilities. The galaxy was watching now, waiting to see how humanity would respond, and soon, very soon, they would get their answer. In the shadows of space, the Zorathians prepared for battle. But they had no idea what awaited them. Humanity's moment had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget it. The underground facility was a maze of steel corridors and humming machinery. It stretched deep beneath the surface of Earth, hidden from prying eyes by layers of rock and reinforced walls. This was where humanity's darkest secrets were kept, secrets that could change the course of history. Admiral J-Ho Kim walked through the dimly lit hallways, his boots echoing softly against the cold floor. He had been here many times before, but tonight felt different. Tonight, the weight of what they were about to do pressed heavily on his shoulders. At the end of the corridor, Dr. Min-Soo Choi waited for him. Min-Soo was a man who rarely smiled, his face lined with years of stress and sleepless nights. Yet there was a spark in his eyes, a mix of pride and anxiety as he greeted J-Ho. "Admiral," he said, nodding respectfully. "It's ready." J-Ho nodded back, though his expression remained grim. "Show me." Min-Soo led him deeper into the facility, past security checkpoints manned by soldiers whose faces betrayed no emotion. They finally arrived at a massive vault door, its surface covered in blinking lights and warning signs. With a swipe of his access card and a quick retinal scan, Min-Soo unlocked it. The heavy door groaned open, revealing the heart of Project Aegis Dawn. Inside, rows of starships stood in perfect formation, their sleek designs gleaming under harsh fluorescent lights. These were not ordinary ships. They were marvels of engineering, decades ahead of anything else in the galaxy. Each vessel was equipped with quantum disruptors capable of disabling entire fleets without firing a single shot. They also carried AI-driven drones designed to outmaneuver any organic pilot, making them nearly unstoppable in combat. But the true masterpiece lay beyond the ships. At the far end of the vault, surrounded by technicians and engineers, was a device known as Eclipse Protocol. It was a neural resonance weapon unlike anything ever created. Unlike traditional weapons that relied on brute force, Eclipse targeted the collective consciousness of hive-minded species like the Zorathians. By severing their ability to communicate and coordinate, it could cripple entire armies without causing physical harm. As J-Ho inspected the arsenal, memories flooded back of Earth's early days among the stars. Those days had been filled with pain and humiliation, pain inflicted by alien empires who saw humans as weak and expendable. He remembered the first time Earth's colonies were attacked, the cries for help that went unanswered by the Galactic Council. He remembered scavenging scraps of alien technology, desperate to learn how to defend themselves, and he remembered the countless lives lost because humanity wasn't strong enough to fight back. Those humiliations fueled every decision he made. Every late-night meeting, every risky investment, every sacrifice, it all led to this moment. Humanity was no longer the frightened child of the galaxy. They were prepared to stand toe-to-toe with anyone who dared to threaten them. Min-Soo joined him, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. "We've done it," he said quietly, almost reverently. "Every piece of this project is operational. We're ready." J-Ho turned to look at him, his gaze steady. "You've done good work, Doctor. Better than anyone thought possible." He paused, letting the gravity of the moment sink in. "But remember this. Once we use these weapons, there's no turning back. The galaxy will never see us the same way again." Min-Soo nodded, his jaw tightening. "I know, but sometimes fear is necessary. If they think we're dangerous, maybe they'll leave us alone." J-Ho didn't respond immediately. Instead, he walked closer to one of the starships, running a hand along its smooth hull. His thoughts drifted to Commander Ji-Un Park, who would soon lead the fleet into battle. She was young, perhaps too young for such responsibility. But her brilliance and determination made her the perfect choice. Still, he couldn't shake the worry that gnawed at him. What if something went wrong? What if their gamble failed? "Admiral," Min-Soo said, breaking the silence, "there's something else you should see." He gestured toward a nearby workstation where Lieutenant Hyun-Jun Lee sat typing furiously on a keyboard. Hyun-Jun was one of Min-Soo's top assistants, a bright young man with a knack for problem-solving. When J-Ho approached, Hyun-Jun stood up quickly, snapping to attention. "Sir," he began, his voice steady despite the obvious nerves. "We've completed the final simulations for Eclipse Protocol. Everything checks out, but—" He hesitated, glancing at Min-Soo for reassurance. "But," J-Ho prompted, raising an eyebrow. "There's a chance it might affect unintended targets," Hyun-Jun admitted. "Species with similar neural patterns to the Zorathians could experience minor disruptions. It's unlikely to cause lasting damage, but we can't rule it out completely." J-Ho frowned, absorbing the information. "How likely is it?" Very low, Minsu interjected quickly. Less than 1%. But yes, there's always a risk when using experimental technology. For a moment, Jeho said nothing. The implications weighed heavily on him. Using Eclipse meant risking collateral damage even if it was minimal. Could he justify that? Was it worth sacrificing innocent lives to protect Earth? Finally, he spoke. We don't have a choice. If we hesitate now, the Zorathians will crush us. Whatever risks exist, we'll manage them. Both Minsu and Hyunjun nodded, though the tension in the room was palpable. No one wanted to think about the consequences of failure, but they all knew the stakes. Humanity's survival depended on this mission succeeding. Later that evening, Jeho returned to his quarters aboard Earth's orbital command station. The view outside his window was breathtaking. The planet below shimmered with blue and green hues, its beauty undiminished by the chaos brewing above. He often found solace in staring at Earth, reminding himself why he did what he did. For all its flaws, it was home, and he would do whatever it took to protect it. His communicator buzzed, pulling him from his thoughts. It was Jiun. Her face appeared on the screen, sharp and focused as always. Admiral, she said without preamble, the fleet is prepped and awaiting your orders. I trust you've reviewed the deployment plans, Jeho replied, leaning forward slightly. Yes, sir. Every detail has been checked and double-checked. The pilots are ready and the AI systems are fully integrated. We can launch at your command. Jeho studied her for a moment, noting the determination in her eyes. She reminded him so much of himself at her age, eager, fearless, and driven. But he also saw the burden she carried, the same burden he felt every day. Leadership wasn't just about giving orders. It was about carrying the weight of every decision, every life lost or saved. You'll make me proud, Jiun, he said finally. Just remember, this isn't just about winning. It's about sending a message. The galaxy needs to understand that humanity won't be pushed around anymore. Jiun nodded, her expression softening slightly. Understood, sir. We'll make sure they hear us loud and clear. After ending the call, Jeho leaned back in his chair, closing his eyes. The pieces were falling into place, but the uncertainty lingered. Would this operation succeed? Would it bring peace, or would it ignite a war that consumed the galaxy? Only time would tell. In the days that followed, Earth's military mobilized with precision and speed. Ships departed orbit in waves, heading toward Zorathian space. The message was simple but unmistakable. Humanity would not wait to be attacked. They would strike first, decisively, and with overwhelming force. Across the galaxy, reactions varied. Some species cheered Earth's boldness, seeing it as a long-overdue challenge to the Zorathians' dominance. Others condemned the move, fearing it would spark a galactic war. But one thing was certain. The silence that followed humanity's announcement was deafening. Even the Zorathians seemed taken aback. For centuries, they had viewed humans as little more than pests, easy targets for conquest. Now, faced with evidence of Earth's newfound strength, they hesitated. Rumors swirled of emergency meetings and frantic planning sessions within the Empire. Whatever confidence they once had was beginning to waver. Back on Earth, Jeho watched the reports come in, his mind racing with possibilities. The galaxy was watching now, waiting to see how humanity would respond. And soon, very soon, they would get their answer. In the shadows of space, the Zorathians prepared for battle. But they had no idea what awaited them. Humanity's moment had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget it. The galaxy held its breath as Earth's fleet moved with purpose and precision. The ships of Project Aegis Dawn cut through the void like shadows, their matte black hulls absorbing light and radar signals alike. To the Zorathians, it must have seemed impossible. How could an enemy appear so suddenly, bypassing known defenses and emerging directly above key strongholds? But humanity had spent years preparing for this moment, studying Zorathian tactics, exploiting weaknesses, and developing technology that rendered traditional strategies obsolete. Commander Jiun Park stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Eternal Resolve, her sharp eyes scanning the monitors that surrounded her. She wore a simple uniform, unadorned except for the insignia of Earth's military command. Her presence inspired confidence in her crew, though she herself felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. This was not just a mission. It was a statement. Humanity would no longer cower or beg for mercy. They were here to show the galaxy what happened when they were pushed too far. Status report, Jiun said, her voice calm but firm. Lieutenant Hyun-Jun Lee, stationed at the tactical console, turned to face her. All squadrons are in position, Commander. Quantum disruptors are online and ready for deployment. AI drones are synchronized and awaiting your command. Ji-Yun nodded, her gaze fixed on the main view screen. Ahead of them loomed one of the Zorathian Empire's largest outposts, a sprawling fortress bristling with weapons and defended by dozens of warships. It was a formidable sight, but Ji-Yun felt no fear. For once, humanity held the advantage. "Send the message," she ordered. Hyun-Jun pressed a series of buttons, and the transmission went live. Every monitor aboard the Zorathian vessels lit up with a single figure, Ji-Yun herself standing tall and resolute. Behind her, the sleek silhouette of the Eternal Resolve dominated the background, flanked by rows of advanced starships. "You sought to destroy us," Ji-Yun began, her tone measured but laced with steel. "Instead, you awakened something far worse." The words hung in the silence that followed. On the Zorathian ships, confusion rippled through the ranks. Their leaders had never expected humans to act so boldly, or so confidently. For centuries, they had treated Earth as little more than prey, easy targets for conquest. Now, faced with evidence of humanity's newfound strength, doubt crept into their minds. Before the Zorathians could respond, Ji-Yun gave the order. "Activate quantum disruptors." Across the fleet, engineers initiated the devices mounted on each ship. Invisible waves of energy pulsed outward, disrupting the electromagnetic fields that powered Zorathian technology. Within seconds, alarms blared across the outpost as systems failed one by one. Weapons went offline, shields collapsed, and engines sputtered to a halt. Even communication networks were severed, leaving the Zorathians isolated and vulnerable. "What's happening?" demanded a Zorathian commander, his voice crackling over damaged comms. "Why can't we fire?" His subordinates scrambled for answers, but none came. Humanity's quantum disruptors didn't destroy, they neutralized. Without functioning weapons or propulsion, the Zorathian fleet became sitting ducks, unable to mount any kind of defense. Ji-Eun watched the chaos unfold from her command chair, her expression unreadable. This wasn't victory yet, it was merely the beginning. The disruptors had crippled their enemy's ability to fight, but there was still work to be done. With a flick of her wrist, she signaled the next phase of the operation. "Aegis drones launch," she commanded. From the underside of each human vessel, swarms of AI-driven drones deployed into space. Sleek and agile, they darted between the immobilized Zorathian ships, targeting critical systems with surgical precision. Some attached themselves to enemy hulls, drilling through armor to disable reactors. Others fired short bursts of energy to incapacitate remaining functional components. Each drone operated independently, guided by algorithms designed to adapt and outmaneuver any countermeasures. On the Zorathian flagship, panic spread like wildfire. Crew members shouted orders that went unheeded, their usual discipline shattered by the unprecedented situation. For the first time in recorded history, the mighty Zorathian Empire found itself powerless against an opponent it couldn't comprehend. "They're using some kind of neural weapon," exclaimed a scientist aboard the flagship, his voice trembling. "Our hive mind connection, it's breaking." Indeed, Eclipse Protocol had been activated moments earlier. Designed to target the collective consciousness of hive-minded species, it sent pulses of resonant energy through subspace, severing the mental links that allowed Zorathians to coordinate seamlessly. Without this connection, their armies froze, confused and disoriented. Soldiers who relied on shared thoughts to function now struggled to make basic decisions. Leaders who once commanded legions with ease found themselves shouting orders into empty air. Ji-Eun monitored the effects from the safety of her bridge, noting how quickly the Zorathian resistance crumbled. She felt no joy in their suffering, only grim satisfaction. This was what they deserved, she told herself. This was justice for every colony destroyed, every life lost, every insult hurled at humanity's expense. But even as the battle unfolded, questions lingered in her mind. Was this truly the right path? What message were they sending to the rest of the galaxy? Strength was necessary, yes, but at what cost? Back on Earth, Admiral Jae-Ho Kim watched the operation unfold from his command center. Streams of data filled the screens around him, detailing the success of the mission thus far. The Zorathians' defeat was inevitable now, their empire teetering on the brink of collapse. Yet Jae-Ho couldn't shake the unease that gnawed at him. He had seen enough wars to know that victories often came at a price, One paid long after the fighting ended. What happens next? He murmured aloud, more to himself than anyone else. Dr. Min-Soo Choi, who had joined him in the command center, offered a cautious response. We've shown them we're not to be trifled with. That's all that matters. Jae-ho glanced at Min-Soo, his expression thoughtful. Is it, though? Fear can only keep people in line for so long. Eventually someone will want revenge. Min-Soo didn't reply immediately. Instead, he turned his attention back to the monitors, where footage of the battle played in real time. The Zorathian outpost was falling apart, its defenses utterly dismantled. Human ships moved methodically through the wreckage, ensuring no threat remained. It was a flawless execution of strategy and technology, a testament to everything humanity had achieved. But Min-Soo understood Jae-ho's concerns. They had crossed a line today, one that could never be uncrossed. By unveiling weapons like quantum disruptors and Eclipse Protocol, they had proven themselves unmatched in warfare. To some, this might inspire awe. To others, it would breed resentment, and perhaps even hatred. As the hours passed, news of Earth's triumph spread rapidly across the galaxy. Reports poured in from distant worlds, describing the sudden and total collapse of the Zorathian Empire's frontline forces. Alien species that had once dismissed humanity as weak now trembled at the thought of provoking them. Trade routes slowed, diplomatic channels went dark, and even neutral factions avoided contact with Earth. Humanity had proven itself unmatched in warfare, but at what price? Fear replaced curiosity, and isolation became the norm. Ji-yeon tried to reassure Jae-ho during a secure transmission later that evening. We showed them we're not to be trifled with, she said, her tone confident but tinged with pride. That's all that matters. But Jae-ho couldn't shake the feeling that they had crossed a line, one there was no coming back from. The galaxy had seen their true power now, and it would never forget. In the days that followed, humanity celebrated its victory. Parades filled the streets of Earth's cities, flags waved proudly, and speeches praised the courage and ingenuity of those who had made it possible. But beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Questions arose about the morality of using weapons like Eclipse Protocol. Could humanity justify causing such widespread disruption, even if it spared lives? And what would happen when the Zorathians regrouped? For Ji-yeon, these doubts weighed heavily. She had always believed in doing whatever it took to protect Earth, but seeing the aftermath of their actions gave her pause. The Zorathians weren't just soldiers. They were living beings driven by instincts and instincts alone. Had humanity become monsters in their quest for survival? Admiral Jae-ho shared her concerns but knew there was no turning back. The galaxy now saw Earth as a force to be reckoned with, a species capable of wielding power beyond imagination. Whether that power brought peace or destruction remained to be seen, and somewhere deep in the shadows of space, the Zorathians plotted their next move. Their empire had been humiliated, their armies shattered, but they were not defeated. Revenge burned in their hearts, a flame that refused to die. Humanity had won the first round, but the war was far from over.